Arne Slot sets Liverpool squad a new challenge after weird admission over team behavior. Arne Slot sets his Liverpool players a new challenge on the cusp of the new Premier League season. Arne Slot has challenged his Liverpool players to add a streetwise streak to their game as they begin their Premier League title defense at home to Bournemouth on Friday night. Ryan Gravenberch is unavailable for the game after being sent off in the final fixture of last season, when the champions were held to a 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace. Despite already being on a booking for simulation, the Netherlands international was shown a straight red card for a professional foul, meaning he misses just one match. Slot referenced that carding and an incident with new signing Florian Wirtz in the second half of Sunday's Community Shield penalties loss to Palace as reasons for why his players could benefit from being a bit more clever in certain phases of matches. But he also explained his pride at how his squad cantered to the title by 10 points without having to utilize the dark arts too often. Last Sunday, the chances we conceded were mainly because 3 times we lost the ball very simply in midfield, and they could counter-attack us, Slot said in his Thursday morning press conference. You could say Ryan is always taking really good care of the ball, but I am not sure how much we missed him last Sunday. But it is clear that Ryan had a big impact last season. It's not funny, but I can't find another word. Everyone has probably forgotten, but he got his suspension, 2 yellow cards. The first was for a dive. There is one team in the league that, in my opinion, is by far the most honest team, and when they play, and I sometimes blame them for this, they never try to make more of a foul. Like Cody in the 2-2 game with Palace, we conceded and he got a push in the back, he was too clean. So if there is one team in the league that is very clean, never dives, never time delays, it is us. And we have a suspension now for a player diving for a yellow card. But I have said many times, probably the midfield might be our strongest line when it comes to the bodies we have. Unfortunately, Alexis Mac Allister, had a bit of a different preseason, but he is back fit now, so I still have a choice to make in midfield, even if Ryan is not there. Slot added, maybe for me to use the right words in English, but you can never be too honest. But I saw this week Fenerbahce against Feyenoord, and I saw a lot of moments where players were really smart. These kinds of things, should we use them more? I am not sure. For me, the best game last season I was part of was PSG against us, especially our home game. I like that more than the away game. But that was just such high intensity because both teams were here to play and not a foul or time delaying. I am proud of who we are, and we won the league by being who we were, so let us stay who we are. But sometimes, like against Palace, if I talk to a referee or fourth official, it is about this. But they hold Florian clearly in midfield, and he is so fair that he didn't fall over, and the referee says, if you don't fall, I don't give a free kick. That is a little bit weird. And then a few moments later they fell down, and the referee sees they fell down, so it is probably a foul. We had so much more possession than Palace, but we made 13 fouls, and they made 5. We are a very fair team, that is clear. And that is also maybe the reason we won the league, so why change some things when it went so well? On the other hand, Arne Slot responds to Mark Guehi transfer question as Liverpool medical set after £26 million deal. Liverpool are set to sign Giovanni Leone, but Arne Slot would not be drawn on links to Mark Guehi at Crystal Palace. Arne Slot refused to be drawn on Liverpool's interest in Crystal Palace captain Mark Guehi after confirming the club had agreed a deal with Parma to sign Giovanni Leone. The Reds have agreed an initial £26 million fee plus add-ons with the Serie A outfit to sign the teenage centre-back. The 18-year-old has been given permission to travel to Liverpool to undergo a medical after an agreement was reached with Parma on Wednesday evening. The Reds saw off competition from a number of elite Italian clubs and Premier League sides, with the teenager adamant that he wanted to move to Anfield. Leone will now bolster Liverpool's options at centre-back ahead of the new season, with the centre-back set to immediately join Slot's first team set up for the campaign. Any suggestion of a loan exit has been completely ruled out. After selling Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen in a deal worth up to £35 million, Slot was left with only Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez as his senior options at the heart of defense. However, Van Dijk missed the Reds' 2 friendlies with Athletic Bilbao through illness, while Gomez has missed the majority of preseason with a minor Achilles issue. Meanwhile, Konate's future continues to be the subject of speculation ahead of his contract expiring next summer. While Liverpool are closing in on the signing of Leone, They also opened talks with Crystal Palace over a possible move for Guehi earlier in the week. But Slot gave little away about the Reds' move for the two centre-backs when quizzed about Liverpool's latest transfer movement ahead of their Premier League opener at home to AFC Bournemouth. "I can tell you that the clubs have agreed a deal, but he hasn't signed for us yet," Slot said of Leone at his pre-match press conference. "The moment when he signs for us, I can go into more detail. And the other one, Guehi, is of course the answer you always get from me. No, I cannot go into more detail, because he is not our player and unfortunately, he was the captain of the team where we lost against last Sunday. No, if you want to have any talks about him, you should go to Palace, to Oliver Glasner and ask him his opinion about him." Meanwhile, Slot confirmed that Gomez could return to the matchday squad against Bournemouth after returning to training this week, but admitted he has a decision to make after the England international's disrupted pre-season schedule. "Joe, I have to make a decision on that," he said. "I think he only trained twice now, missed quite a lot in pre-season. But if you look at our bench against Palace, I think there were 3 players who were 20 years or younger. There is a possibility that Joe is on the bench, but I have to look at the answers and who we're going to take." I heard what Arne Slot said on Liverpool transfers. Alexander Isak and Mark Guehi's stance could change. Theo Squires was in attendance at Arne Slot's press conference to preview Liverpool. Arne Slot is nothing if not consistent. Once again, all the talk ahead of the Dutchman's latest pre-match press conference was transfer-dominated as Liverpool's record-breaking window continues. Ahead of the Community Shield, Alexander Isak was inevitably the name on everyone's lips as Slot was quizzed about the Reds' interest in Newcastle United's one-away striker for the first time, a week after Liverpool had seen an £110 million bid rejected by the Magpies. His response was inevitably obvious. "As you know, from me and I think every manager works like this, you never talk about players that are not yours," he said of the Swede. "I can talk about Hugo Ekitike, who we have signed and done really well until now." Fast forward a week and it was a case of déjà vu at the AXA training center, though this time the Reds' recruitment at centre-back had overtaken Isak as the leading topic of choice. Only a couple of hours before Slot sat down for his latest media briefing, it emerged that Giovanni Leone was set to travel to Merseyside to undergo a medical after Liverpool had agreed an initial £26 million deal with Parma for the Italian teenager on Wednesday evening. Meanwhile, the Reds opened talks with Crystal Palace at the start of the week over a possible move for Eagles captain Mark Guehi. As was the case with Isak, Slot had little to say when it came to the England international. But with Leone set to become Liverpool's 9th signing of the summer, he was a little bit more forthcoming on the Italian as he confirmed a deal was agreed with Parma, before promising to be more loose-lipped once the deal is officially complete. "I can tell you that the clubs have agreed a deal, but he hasn't signed for us yet," he said of the Italian. "The moment when he signs for us, I can go into more detail. And the other one, Guehi, is of course the answer you always get from me. No, I cannot go into more detail, because he is not our player and unfortunately, he was the captain of the team where we lost against last Sunday. No, if you want to have any talks about him, you should go to Palace, to Oliver Glasner and ask him his opinion about him." Slot would later prove such a point when waxing lyrical about 2 of his summer signings. Sky Germany were in attendance at the AXA to quiz the Dutchman on club record signing Florian Wirtz, with the German, who registered an assist on his Liverpool debut at Wembley, set to make his maiden Premier League appearance against Bournemouth in Friday's season opener. Considering the Reds are already looking to break the club record deal for Wirtz, if they make a renewed attempt to sign Isak, he has almost become an afterthought when it comes to reporting on Liverpool's ongoing transfer business. The Reds have unveiled a further 5 signings since announcing the playmaker on June 20th. After all, with Leone set to become the 6th. But that was never going to be the case in his homeland, as demonstrated by Sky Germany's presence in Kirkby. The darling of German football, Wirtz was recently crowned Germany's Footballer of the Year for 2025 and named on the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. And while it might only be early days in his Liverpool career, he has already surprised his new head coach. "He might be young, but he already won a lot," Slot said. "Factually, we can see him as a young player, but in terms of his experience that he's already having, I don't see him as a young player." He won the league in Germany, won the cup, played for his country numerous times. And apart from that, his mentality is maybe his biggest strength. And that says a lot because if you see him play, you're like, are you serious? Because he's so creative. But how mentally strong he is, he doesn't get distracted at all by a transfer fee or anything else. I think good players always find a way to play well in good teams, and he is a good player and he plays in a good team. On the pitch and on the training ground and in videos, he needs help for him to understand the way we want to play. That's not 180 degrees different than Xabi Alonso. The system is different, but we want to be intense. Xabi Alonso wanted to be intense. He liked to dominate possession. Xabi tried to bring him in positions we want to try to bring him in, so a lot of things are the same for him. But it's true he has to adjust to England, to the league, to the intensity, and to his new teammates as well. But I think if you saw the games, his adjustment went quite well, better than even expected, and we already expected a lot. Slot would also offer further insight on Jeremy Frimpong's role at Liverpool, having seen the Dutchman score on his Reds debut against Crystal Palace last weekend. In my opinion, Jeremy and Connor Bradley are similar types, although Jeremy is maybe better in the 1v1s than Connor is, he said. But I think Jeremy and Connor can both contribute to Mo Salah's output because if you play against these two, you know you have to be aware of these two as well. So, it normally gives Mo even more space to get the 1v1s. Because if we isolate Jeremy in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team, and if we isolate Mo in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team as well. Where maybe last season the opposition, could give a little bit more help because Trent Alexander-Arnold was a little bit more behind the ball, which was also dangerous because when Mo brought it back, Trent could deliver one of his famous crosses. So, it's different types, but I think both types, and Trent proved it together with Mo. Trent brought the best out of Mo. I think the same thing is going to happen with Connor and Jeremy with Mo in that regard. Slot might not be willing to speak on the likes of Guehi and Isak, for now at least, but, as demonstrated by his assessments of Wirtz and Frimpong, that will not be the case for long if Liverpool are to be successful in their remaining transfer pursuits. With Leone set to take the Reds spending past £300 million, it would be a surprise if the reigning Premier League champions were done there with a further 2.5 weeks to go until the summer transfer window closes. Thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe.